Hello, friends. It's always a kind of challenge and privilege to sit down and see what my heart and being wants to share with you today, this moment. And what's really strong in me is that the last few days I've been around young children, a 7-month-old, a 1.5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. These are the grandchildren of my dear friend Annalisa. And I'm watching them and feeling them, knowing that they have not yet developed that sense of separate self-identity, that they're still, the oldest one, the 3-year-old, yesterday or day before yesterday, for the first time while he was playing, said, I am sitting on top of, we made a little fort. I'm sitting on top of the fort. Instead, he would use his name, Finn, or Finley. Finn is sitting on top of the, so when he used his name, he was the object that his parents and everyone else sees him as when they name him. But when he says I, he's seeing himself for the first time at the age of 3 as an object. I, Finley. I, the separate existence called Finley. Whereas with the 7-month-old, it was just watching this gaze, this open-eyed gaze. And I found that if I made the very slightest kind of movements of my face, instead of how we often exaggerate with children, exaggerate our hand movements, exaggerate our voice, oh, little guy, hello, how are you, making those kinds of sounds, I just changed my facial expressions just like this. And I moved my eyes. And the subtlety of what I was doing, that baby was following. I knew he was following it. And sensed he was following it. And the sense of spaciousness, the sense of stillness and openness was such a joy for me. This is the beginning of the developmental arc that we as human beings go through. We start out just everything is coming to us. And very little of it can be censored. And very little of it can be represented or represented to us through the left brain because we still don't have a conceptual matrix. We don't have thoughts yet, organized thoughts for sure, when we don't have the words with which, even if there is a thought process that's already there, that we can organize that thought into a particular structure. Eventually, these young children are going to become adults, and what they are going to do, and we as adults think that we're conscious, and in a certain sense we are, and we can be incredibly effectively conscious, but it's a different kind of consciousness. It's become differentiated, and it's representing the world through words and concepts, and unless that representation comes back into our bodies, comes back into our hearts, comes back into that place that the young child has, that the 7-month-old has, where it's all one continuous, interconnected flow of being. And there's no separation between his being and internal being, the internal states he experiences, and the external states. And until we are able to bring this represented world, which we live in with judgments and stories and opinions and science and technology, and we assemble from these pieces an attempt to create wholeness, but there's no living, real wholeness in it. The image that's coming to me now and is juxtaposed with being with the 7-month-old is Elon Musk's book with his face on the front, and he seems to be standing in front of something, maybe one of the rocket engines for his SpaceX project. And for me, it was almost like looking at the Frankenstein monster. I actually found it a horrific image of the pure left brain, where because we can represent the world in technological terms, in words and thoughts and concepts, and assemble them into accomplishments like a rocket that he would like to charge people money to take them around the moon and eventually go to Mars and colonize Mars, because there's some kind of crazy belief that we're going to have to vacate this planet because we're going to destroy it and we're going to need to find another place to live. That's why it's, to me, a nightmarish image. But it's not the image of the world of a child, nor is it the image of the world of a mystic or the world of the saint or the world of a person who has represented the world to themselves in language and concept and then returned back to the heart, back to what we might call the right brain that presents the world to us for the first time, is always presencing. There's always experiencing things for the first time in the flow of it, in the newness of it, at one with it. Until we can take that segmented and fragmented world that's beginning for the 3-year-old with the word I, until we have that and we can bring it back in to our lives, we are going to not even deal with the most important problems facing human beings, which are things like our ability to communicate with each other, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, dealing with overpopulation, having the conversations that require us to challenge our structures and beliefs that we have built up out of these representational dynamics of words and ideas and science and sociology and psychology, which doesn't nourish the heart one iota. It only nourishes the sense of satisfaction at accomplishing something because you've assembled something from pieces into a whole, but does the whole address real wholeness? I mean, real wholeness would be to say, how do we make heaven on earth? How do we make this planet and our societies and our culture a place that all of us want to belong to, that all of us are advantaged to the greatest degree, where we are presencing to a cultural environment that says, yes, here, learn more about the world, and here, return to a sense of community, return to a sense of connectedness. So this developmental process, just these images, and just my horror at Mr. Musk's book cover, which to me is pure left brain, pure fragmented. And of course, when you fragment and you can assemble a whole, you can achieve something, and the achievement generates money, and the achievement can be measured, and that becomes, for a very conventional level of consciousness, success. But really, the deeper success is when you come back into yourself, having looked at all these things, having seen and felt the world in all of its miraculous individual fragments, and realize that it has no soul until those fragments once again participate in a wholeness like that 7-month-old intrinsically already feels. So all I can say to you is, there is no joy till you come home to you. There is no joy till you come back to the part of you that's in service to the wholeness of life and feels it. The satisfaction and joy that comes from accomplishment is short-lived, and it is wonderful also, but it isn't really soul-nourishing. I'm going to talk more about this in a future conversation. Thank you, and blessings.